What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review for Love and why I always want to keep saying Love and Hip Hop, Love and Marriage, Huntsville, season 1, episode 4. Now look, found out a few things this episode. Let me tell y'all something. Letitia, you messy girl, but we'll get there. We're gonna get there at the end. So, uh. We start this episode off with learning a lot more about Kimmy and Maurice, and their home life and everything. The wedding is 2 weeks away at this point, and we see Kimmy's son is home for the summer. He's 20 years old, and Maurice's son is spending the summer with him. Him and his ex-wife. That's how their visitation is, because his ex-wife lives in Michigan. So the son comes and stays with them in the summer. Now, Kimmy and Maurice have been together for like 7 years. So they have this whole system down. I mean, the kids stay with them in the summer, and they're used to, this is their natural vibe. This isn't new for them. Although there are a few things that Kimmy is expressing some frustration over. One being, and it was funny because before Kimmy even said it, I had picked up on it. So the son, he calls his son, Maurice's son, he calls his son Monster. He's 11, and he's there for the summer. And they call his mom, the ex-wife, they call her on the phone, and she's like, well, what is the plan for him for the summer? Now, first of all, I think that's a conversation y'all should have had before he came down there for the summer. I'm not saying he shouldn't have gone down there. That's not what I'm saying. But I think that, asking what the plan is for the summer was probably a conversation. I get the impression that their relationship is a little contentious, because she sort of had attitude in her voice from, well, what's the plan? I mean, what are you doing with him for the summer? So Maurice was like, well, we have some camps, I think I'm going to put him in. And as soon as he said, I'm going to put him in, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't have children, but I have had children for the summer. And I know that you don't wait until the last minute to do a camp. Matter of fact, most of my friends are paying for camp right now. Like January, February, they already know where their kids are going to be for the whole summer. Camp is paid for. Or at least deposits are made. And I'm sitting here like, your son is already there. Summer has already started. And you talking about putting him in a camp? And so Kimmy was like, okay, see, first of all, when I asked you about what you were doing with him, because I know that we needed to plan something, you kind of shut me down. But the minute his wife was on the phone, ex-wife was on the phone, then all of a sudden it's, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. She was like, you got to plan for that. Like, you can't just, like, you answering her because you know that she expects to hear that. But for me, you were cool with shutting it down. The other thing we saw them in a therapy session later on. And the other thing she expressed some frustration over is, because Maurice is in school, because Maurice has work, a lot of the parenting for the summer falls on her. And her thing is, I don't have a problem with it. It's not that I have an issue with it. It's that I just, want a little help. I feel like, you always, it's work or it's this or it's that, and then it all falls on me. And she was like, I love him, I love him like he's my own, but at the end of the day, I need a little help. And so they talked about that, and what I like is, I think Maurice heard her, and Maurice responded. We see a scene where he's spending time with his son, and he's like, this is something I made time for because it's something he wanted to do. And they actually had a really good conversation, and we see Maurice saying, I understand where Kimmy is coming from, and I also, now that we're having this conversation, I appreciate it, because these are the things I need to be talking to my son about. Like, I need to have these conversations with my son. So I thought it was really great. Like, that whole insight into Kimmy and Maurice was definitely great. The other thing that Kimmy talked about in therapy was, she talked about being a single mom, and the fact that, y'all, when I tell y'all, I love how I'm loving me some Kimmy. I love how Kimmy worded what she said, because what she said was, I chose to be a single mom, and so when I made that choice, then I accepted certain things. She said, but now that my son is 20, I'm in my 40s. This is when you're supposed to be getting your groove back, kicking back, doing these things, she said. And I want to just do certain things that because Maurice is in school and, because Monster is so young, we don't have that spontaneity that I wish I had. And a lot of it sounds like traveling. She said, I see friends who they're going to Hawaii, they're going to Paris, and I just feel like I'm not having that kickback moment. And so I think it was very honest of her, because she said she felt like she missed out on so much being a single mom. And she never worded it like it was a problem. She never worded it like she regretted it. She was just saying, now that my son is at a point where he's independent enough that I can go off and do these things, I still can't. And so that's going to be something that they're going to have to really come to a happy medium with and really work through. Because I can definitely see where Kimmy has a legitimate concern. But at the same time, they're going to have to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Being able to get on a plane and go to Paris at a whim is a great thing. But I don't think it's more important to Kimmy than her relationship. But also, I think that Maurice heard her. I do think he heard her. And even though I don't think that's something he can address like in the immediate now, I think it's something that he will address. But that's just me. I like them. I really like them together. The other thing, and let me tell you another reason why I like Miss Kimmy. Miss Kimmy told her son, she said, let me explain something to you. She said, just because you've been down there in college, coming and going as you please know that now you are home, and there are expectations, and there are rules to this, and you will have a curfew. Her son was like, what? A what? She said, yeah, don't act brand new. Curfew. And she threw up the deuces. I don't know if she was saying deuces or she was saying 2 o'clock. But he was like, why would I have a curfew? She was like, because you're not grown and you don't pay no mortgage. She said, but I tell you what, if you want to put in on this mortgage, we can reevaluate the curfew. Sonny was like, nah, I'm good with the curfew. I said, I know that's right, Kimmy. You better let him know and break it down and let him know you grown. Let me tell you something. That's a conversation I had to have with my mama. I'm sorry. My mama had to have with me. When I came home from school, honey, I just thought I was doing the damn thing. My mother had to let me know. Let me explain something to you. And when you're in school, I don't know you coming in the house at 3 o'clock in the morning. But what I do know in this house is what time you coming up in here. And what you not going to do is come up in here when you feel like it. So, yeah, you have a curfew. There are expectations. And I don't really give a damn what you do when you down in Greensboro, North Carolina. Okay? My mama let her sister know. And it was what it was. So, I'm with you, Kimmy girl. My mama did the same thing. Y'all, look, I'm real long-winded tonight. Let's get to this comeback group meeting. Okay. Oh, Lord, this comeback group, y'all. We just need to have a prayer meeting for the comeback group. I don't know if it's going to make it, y'all. I don't know if it's going to make it. So they had a meeting tonight. Well, on this episode. And they were revisiting this price point on Holt and Holt, saying that they were going to build this house for $89 a square foot. Marcel says, well, I talked to Brother Man down on the corner, and Brother Man said he could do it for $69, so what's good? And Martell, let me tell y'all something in this episode. Up until the end, I was really, like, Martell was irritating my soul this episode. And Marcel, I was actually feeling him this episode until the end. But I was just like, what's up with you this episode, Martell? So, Martell was really just like, he was trying to stick on his $89 price point. And basically, his thing was, I'm not in a position where I could be doing a charity case. Like, whatever I do, I need to be making money off of it. Yeah, I can take a little bit of a cut on my profit, but I can't afford to do this for no profit at this point in my career. So, what I say to that is that maybe this ain't the right time for the comeback group. Because what Kimmy said was, if the purpose of this organization, for the name Comeback, the purpose is so that people will come back to their community at an affordable rate, then we need to make it as affordable as possible. Meaning, if you can afford to cut your price a little bit more so that we can sell the house a little cheaper, isn't that the end goal? So Martell, if you're not in a position where you can afford to take that price cut, then this probably ain't the project for you right now. Because I thought the whole purpose of this was affordable housing, to try to stem the tide of gentrification. That's what I thought this was about. Maybe I'm wrong, but okay. So, I mean, it was really 5 against 1, because even Melanie was like, we can come down to $80. Like, if we come down to $80, will y'all make the deal? And Mark, he was sitting there like, him and Han, and basically they were like, look, if you enter, you out. This is what we're saying. This is a non-negotiable for us. Either you're going to go ahead and take the $80 per square foot, and that's what you're going to take out of it, or not. So he finally accepted it, but you could tell he was not happy. He was not happy at Melanie for making that deal. And then they was going through some contracts, and there was some other things that they were working out, and he wasn't happy with Melanie on some of the stuff that they compromised on. But life is all about compromise. And a contract, they all went through the contract, and they highlighted what they had problems with, and they finally came to some conclusions. So, Lord, honey, But there was one other little thing that Martell did in this meeting. When Letitia kept bringing up some points, he kept calling her sweetheart. And the first time he called her sweetheart, she told him, I'm not your sweetheart. Boom, boom, boom. Next time she's talking, he says it again. And she was like, I'm not your sweetheart. Now, let me say this. I can appreciate the fact that Marceau didn't get involved, and he allowed Letitia to handle it. But he did say in his confessional later on, he got one more time to disrespect my wife, or it's going to be a problem. They go out for golf. Let's go on and get to that part. They're going out for some golf. And Maurice and Marceau are there first. And they decide, Marceau and Letitia decided, we can't allow them to let their anniversary go by without them celebrating. So here go Marceau. So I made the executive decision to have a 10-year anniversary surprise party for them, and then I passed off the details to my assistant. Y'all know who the hell his assistant is. I couldn't even get mad at him because I was just laughing. I thought it was a good thing that he was trying to do for his friends. He was trying to have something for his friends, so I can't even get mad at him. But that daggone Marceau, he is a mess, okay? So they're out at golfing, and it was supposed to be a guy's day, but Martell brings Melanie along. And this is his effort to allow Melanie to feel more comfortable. Like, look, let's do more things together. I'll bring you along so you know that I'm where I'm supposed to be, to help build that trust back up. And they had a good time or whatever. It looks like, Maurice and Marceau were not happy to see Miss Melanie. However, I think they understood why she was there. You know what I mean? They understood the reason why she was there. But the whole sweetheart thing came up. And they were trying to get Martell to understand that it's not cool. It's very condescending, especially when you're dealing with a woman in a professional environment. Y'all are having a meeting, you're discussing business, and you're calling her sweetheart. That is condescending. And Martell just wouldn't hear it. He didn't want to accept it. He was like, I wasn't being condescending the first time, which means you were being condescending the second time when you did it, which is all the more reason why you wrong. Now, regardless of whether you meant it to be condescending the first time, it was. And she told you. So my thing is, out of respect for her, you shouldn't have said it again. But you said it again specifically because you were in your feelings, and I guess you didn't want her to feel like she had something over you or something. She said she didn't appreciate it, and don't call her sweetheart. Yet you did it again, and when they tried to tell you what the problem was with it, you ain't want to accept it. See, Martell, you was really getting on my nerves this episode. You were really irritating me this episode. I'm going to put it out there, okay? Because there's some other things that went down. We get there in a minute that you did that irritated me too, okay? Now, reason number 2 why I love Kimmy, okay? Because Kimmy is fully in control of her freakity, okay? And there's nothing wrong with a woman who is in control of her freakity. They at the sex store. Kimmy said, I got to get right for my honeymoon night, okay? She said, we got to get some lingerie, okay? Maybe get a few little odds and ends that we can lay around the room and play with a little bit. And so they meet up at a toy store. Now let me tell you something. They must have been at a real fancy toy store, because the lady offered them champagne and stuff. Now I done been to the toy store, but I never been to the toy store with no champagne, okay? So they were at a real fancy toy store. But Kimmy's talking to Letitia, and Letitia's like, she don't have no toys. She ain't never used no toys. Marceau don't like no toys. Now, that does not shock me at all, okay? No, don't shock me. Not at all. Um, and Kimmy was trying to talk Miss Tisha into buying something. She said, "Can you don't even want to get no Benoit balls?" She was like, "What are those? How you don't know what Benoit balls are?" And she said she went to a toy party one time. She bought it and she bought something and she tried to bring it in and Marcel was like, "Nope," and so she threw it away. Now I don't know what she tried to buy and bring it to the bedroom, but honey, whatever, girl. Then Melanie shows up. Melanie says she ain't got no toys either. Now that does shock me a little bit. It shocks me that she didn't have no toys. So Kimmy the only one. Kimmy said, "I done bought the wrong friends with me to this." I said, "You did, Kimmy. You call me next time, girl. We can hang out, drink some champagne, and we can go all through that store, okay?" Yeah, I was a little shocked by that too, Kimmy. That was a lot for me. I was like, what? So Miss Kimmy's trying on some lingerie, girl, and she looked good. She looks good. Miss Kimmy looked good, okay? And she's ready for her and she said lingerie just makes her feel sexy. And that's what it's supposed to do. She said, now it might only stay on for 2 minutes, but it makes me feel good. It makes me feel sexy. And it made me think I need to go buy some, I've gotten out of the habit of, I'm about to tell some of my business. Anyway, so yeah. And so when they got to the register, Melanie paid for Kimmy's outfit. Kimmy's purchases. She said, I didn't make it to your bridal shower, so this is my gift to you or what have you. And so Melanie left, and when Melanie left, it was an outfit that Melanie had looked at that she thought was cute and everything. So they decided to buy that for Melanie for her anniversary gift. Said, maybe to get some things popping in the bedroom. They also bought a little toy. We'll talk about the toy. So poor Tish ain't buy nothing. At least she ain't buy nothing on camera. But Tisha should have bought something. So, we see that, matter of fact, let's go on and talk about that. So, Tisha had the gift. And so she showed Marcel the gift. And he was like, what? He was like, that's not an anniversary gift. That's what he said, what, has anybody, here you go. Ain't nobody ever gave us anything like that for our anniversary. He said, and if they had, why you ain't never wear it? But then Letitia brought up a good point. Letitia said, so you like lingerie? Now, they've been married for 12 years. You mean to tell me that you ain't never worn no lingerie, boo? That's a problem. Clearly it's not a problem. Y'all are happily married, so I shouldn't say it's a problem. I'm going to say maybe you should do it and add a little something to there, okay? But she brought up a good point. She said, well, I didn't think you liked lingerie because you never bought me any lingerie. You never asked me to wear any lingerie. So I never bought none. She said, you could have bought me a little nurse outfit or a cheerleader. He said, I don't need a nurse. I don't need a cheerleader. He said, I just need a wife and some lingerie. I said, I know that's right, Marcel. You better let him know you just bought your wife and some lingerie. Now, see, so Tisha, what you should have done immediately after this conversation is you should have called up Kimmy and said, girl, let's go back to that store. I want you to help me pick out some things. That's what you should have done. And if you didn't do it, you failed. You failed. All right. So, anyway, the other thing they bought, this is the little sex toy. And I had heard about this toy before where it's the Benoit balls. But it's like it's a Wi-Fi or a Bluetooth on it or something like that. And your significant other can download an app and can basically buzz the balls so the balls will vibrate at will. So let's say, for example, you put the Benoit balls in and, you're at work. Now, I don't know what the range is on these things, but let me just use this as an example. You're at work and your significant other can go into the app and start playing with some things while you at work, girl. That sound like fun. I said I might have to look into see how much that costs. That sound like fun. Don't y'all think that sound like fun? Let me know in my comments if that sound like fun. All right, moving on. Because this is running long. So, they getting ready to go. They're going out to dinner. They told Marcel and Letitia told everybody to dress up. But don't worry about where we're going. They said just dress to the nines. We're going to go out. And they got a nice stretch I think it was like a Navigator or a Suburban or something like that, but it was a really nice limo. And they go and they pick everybody up. And once we see, excuse me, we see Melanie and Martell getting ready, getting ready to go and everything. And of course, they don't know where they're going or why they're going. They just said, we were told to dress up, and it is what it is. So while they getting dressed, Melanie gonna ask Martell, so where'd you go last night? He said, I went to the gym. What you talking about? She said, yeah, but you were gone a couple extra hours. He said, well, it takes me about 30 minutes to get there and 30 minutes to get back. That's an hour right there. She said, oh, I'm no dummy. I already factored that in. I'm talking about you were gone a couple of extra hours on top of the time it normally take you to go to the gym. Now, let me say this. Melanie might be a little hypersensitive right now because she doesn't have your trust, but Melanie ain't no dummy. And here's where men are stupid. If you know when you go to the gym, it normally takes you 2 hours. Whether you telling the truth or lying, your ass better stay within that time period. And if you stop anywhere else, if you had to stop at the store to pick up some detergent, if you stopped at Baskin and Robbins to get you a sundae, whatever you did, you better factor that in, and you better call and say, hey, babe, I'm stopping at the food line. You need something? Hey, babe, I'm getting some Baskin and Robbins. You want something? Because she doesn't trust you. And trust and believe she's watching everything you do for any sign of anything that is not normal. So, I don't know what you did that night, whether you went to the gym or didn't go to the gym. Maybe you did an extra 10 miles on the treadmill. I don't know. But whatever it was, it piqued Melanie's interest. And Melanie said, yeah, he took me golfing and everything, but now we right back where we started, where he going to the gym at night by himself. And I already told him I'm not feeling that. Okay. So, they need some therapy. They really need to go and sit with somebody and work this out. Because it does take a long time to gain trust back. Clearly, Melanie wants to work things out because she's still there. But it is hard, and it is a process. And my problem is Martell in his confessional talking about, she tripping. She just need to back up and give me a little space. No, the fuck she don't. Because you had a good old 2-year affair on her. And you still talking to the girl that you had an affair with. So, no, she don't need to back up nothing. Anyway. So, the other thing I thought was very interesting before we get to the restaurant, they were going to this really nice restaurant called the 360. It's like the Stratosphere or something like that, where it goes way up in the air, and then the restaurant is up top, and it's a rotating restaurant. Very beautiful. I've been to a restaurant like that before. Very nice place to go eat. Now, Melanie and Martell had been there before, but they lied and said they hadn't. Talking about, we just don't want to burst their bubble. I don't think you would have burst their bubble because y'all was still going anyway. See, to me, my grandmama told me it ain't no need to tell an unnecessary lie. See, to me, that's an unnecessary lie. All you had to say was, we went a few years ago and we really enjoyed it. I've always wanted to go back. But see, you lied about going. So now, 6 months from now, when it come up that you went before, then they're going to be giving y'all the side eye like, well, why did y'all lie about not going before? That's a dumb lie, Melanie. Like, some stuff is just stupid to me. It wasn't that might sound petty to other people. To me, that's just an unnecessary lie. But that's the kind of thing that if I was your friend and I found out later, I'd be giving you the side, like, well, why you lie about going? So, all right now, Letitia, here's where you piss me off. So they're at dinner and they're having a nice conversation and everything. And Melanie says to Letitia, Have you followed up with any of the people we met at the library event the other week? Letitia says, well, yeah, I spoke with one person, but, I got to get my life in order first. No, I got to get my house clean first. And I thought she was figuratively speaking because we saw the conversation last week where her and Marcel discussed their 5-year plan. So I thought she was figuratively saying, I have to get my life in order as far as get those things straight that me and Marcel talked about. No, she was physically saying, like, I got to wash my walls and clean the baseboards and I got to do a deep cleaning. And Melanie was like, so you got to do a deep cleaning of your house before you can call and have lunch with somebody? Don't make no sense. And so then Letitia gonna start talking about, well, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta pick the girls up here, I gotta drop the boys off here, I gotta do this. I feel like a single parent. Well, Kimmy was like, "Rrr." And Marceau said, you know what, it's some single parents that will whoop your tail for saying that. And Kimmy was like, I understand what she mean as far as maybe she's doing a lot of the work by herself. She said, but honey, that extra paycheck don't hurt nobody. And I think everybody understood the point she was making, but you might not want to necessarily use the term single mother in front of a single mother, because that's going to never really go right for you. But I understood her point. And Marceau was like, and she said, well, I never really wanted to be a single mother. I mean, a stay-at-home mom. She said, but once I had my children, then I sort of reevaluated that. She said, but I do want to get more involved in the business aspect of it. Just, I guess the timing or something. And so Martell went to go ask Tisha about that. And Marcel gonna cut him off, talking about something. Are you asking me that? He said, well, no, I was asking Tisha. No, I think you're asking me. He said, no, I wasn't. I was asking Letitia. And Letitia said he was looking dead at me. That he was asking me that question. And Marcel said, well, no, look, let me explain something to y'all. This is never going to happen. This is never going to happen. He was like, something really major would have to go down for this to happen. He said, we have a plan. And our plan was basically, I'm going to grind, I'm going to hump, I'm going to make the money we need to make so that we'll be where we're going to be. I'm going to go ahead and hurry up because this thing is running long. I see both sides of that coin. And I said this last week. But the problem is, Marceau, she's not happy. She's not happy. And yes, she agreed to the plan. Yes, she had that plan. Yes, she probably thought, I can do this. I can do this for a few years and stay at home with my kids and do this and do that. I'm sure she thought that she could do that. I don't think she went into that thinking, I can't handle this. The problem, though, is she's not happy, Marceau. And as chauvinistic as you are, I like you. I do. I really do. And so I think you need to hear her. And I think you need to understand that she's not happy with it. And y'all need to maybe reevaluate this 5-year, or whatever. It was more than a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, whatever the plan was. I think you might need to reevaluate it, because what's going to end up happening is eventually she's going to rebel. And I don't know what that's going to look like, but you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it. Now, Miss Tisha, I ain't going to call you out your name, but use a messy little something something. So she going to turn to, now mind you, this is their 10-year anniversary dinner. And she going to turn to Melanie and Martell and say, well, those are some of the challenges that we have in our marriage. Marriage is all about ups and downs. And I know that you guys have had some challenges. And as she's talking in my mind, I'm thinking, I know she not. I know she not. I know she not. She going to say, like, you guys have dealt with infidelity. So, I mean, how did y'all get through that? What? First of all, Melanie ain't confessed no infidelity to y'all. So if you are saying there was infidelity, then one, that means that now Martell knows that Marceau done told you what he said. 2, you speaking on something that wasn't made public to the group. And 3, it's so inappropriate. That is not the time or the place to have that conversation. You should have had that conversation last week when y'all was having massages and you was talking about Melanie acting bougie. That's if you really wanted to have that conversation. You don't do that right there. Letitia, that was messy. That was so messy. So messy. But Melanie took it and ran, honey. Melanie started talking about trust and building trust and feeling like you could trust somebody again honey, it wasn't pretty. And of course Martell is pissed. You could fry an egg on his head, honey. He's so damn mad. There's smoke coming out his ears. He's pissed off. Oh, he's hot. He's hot. Like I said, they need some counseling. Their situation, I think, is worse than they're accepting at this moment. But anyway, y'all, I ran long. I didn't mean to talk this long about this episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.